And just like that, I am back. Happy Tuesday. I hope you have had a great day. Thank you for joining me on tonight for tonight's podcast, right? Don't forget, if you have not already done so, please make sure you subscribe to my channel that is Journey with Dina, Dena. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you will always be notified when I go live. And also, make sure you share this with a friend, a family member, or both. Hey, you never know. Wherever it goes, I'm getting it to y'all for free, okay? So, thank you. Let me say this first. Y'all have been doing so well about telling me hello when y'all watch the replay. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It makes me smile, okay? So, if you have been watching the podcast, then you already know we are still in the mini series of the waiting period, right? And so, the waiting period is what? The time in between process to promise. And the waiting period is a necessary part of the process, okay? So, if you watched on last week, then I'll just give you a brief of what we talked about last week, right? So last week we talked about closed doors while in the waiting period. And we talked about how even when you have done the work, you have prepared yourself, um, you have worked on yourself, you did all the necessary things that you feel like you needed to do to get yourself whole before you get to that kingdom spouse. There's still sometime a waiting period that is the in between time, right? And we talked about a closed door on last week. So if you haven't watched that video, you have to go on back on the other side and watch the video, and you'll see what door closed for me, because this is the journey that we are taking about me. And so I shared that with you all on last week. So when you get time tonight or tomorrow, because you will have time tonight, go back and watch that video. Let me know what you thought about it. Is there anything that resonated with you? And also, I gave y'all some homework assignment. So the homework assignment for last week was to ask God, what is it that I'm clinging to that's keeping me from trusting you? Am I clinging to this job that needs to go? Am I clinging to a relationship that you clearly told me no? Like, is there something that you feel like you're clinging onto or that God has showed you that you need to let go of? So if you come back and watch it in the replay, drop it down in the box for me. And we're gonna talk about it because we're gonna be on this right here for a little minute because I got a lot of closed doors that has come, right? So make sure if you haven't done that, please do that and drop it down in the chat or so we can talk about it when we come back live, okay? So tonight, my topic for tonight is it another closed door or is it God's alignment? Hmm. What's the difference, might you ask? Glad you asked. I will be telling you that tonight, okay? Sometimes, even when we're in this season of the waiting period, sometimes it can feel like the wilderness, right? Feel like you're doing the right thing, but looking around and like nothing's happening, nothing's moving. Like, what is going on? But I can assure you that something is happening behind the scenes, right? So I told y'all my first closed door that happened in January. And if you go back and watch, I told you the prophet said that it was going to be 3 months of craziness, right? January was the first month of craziness, but that first door that I told you closed. Second door is I was working on a job. I was working part time on this job, right? I had been there for 2 years. I had gotten comfortable, but I knew that I was there on assignment and I knew that eventually my time was going to be up, right? However, like we've been talking about, sometimes when you get comfortable, it's hard for you to move, right? So I think January, no, that wasn't January. Can't really remember the dates right now. I have to go back to my notes. I had did this couples party, right? And when I did the couples party, I met this lady there, and she told me she called me The following week, I did a couples party for one of my clients with like 14 couples, right? So I did a couples party at a church. And the lady called me that Sunday. She texted me. She said, "Hey, when you get a chance, give me a call. I got a business venture for you." Okay. I'm like, what? I wonder what she talking about, right? So went on through the weekend. Couldn't wait to call, but I had already prayed because every good idea is not a God idea. Let's start there, right? So even though she said she had this business venture for me, if it wasn't part of God's plan, then I don't really want to be involved in it, right? So I called the lady and she told me what she wanted to do. She wanted to venture out and continue to do what I was doing with the date nights, right? So I'm like, oh, okay. Then I got another call from another one of my clients that was going to actually be over the marriage. Her pastor asked her to be over the marriage ministry at her church. So she was like, well, you might as well go ahead and get Dina to come on board with us because that's who does all of our activities and things. So we're going to put her on payroll because she's the ones who sets up the activities, right? That will be me, right? So all these good opportunities is coming, and I end up talking to my auntie on the phone one night, right? She was like, well, you're not going to be able to work the job you're working, work in the salon, and do all this other stuff on the level that you're trying to do it on because it's just too much. And I was like, yeah, I understand that. I know. I said, but if I had the chance, the first thing that would go would be the job because I know that I'm here on assignment to help, and I know this is not my permanent place, right? 7 days later, this was on a Tuesday. The following Tuesday, I get called into the office. And when I get called into the office, they tell me, well, I'm trying to go a different way this year, with the practice or whatever. And so I'm going to probably put somebody else in your position. I'm going to get you to train them up and everything. And then I'm going to transition you out. I was like, okay, God, like that was real quick. Like literally 7 days ago, I just had this conversation with my aunt, not knowing that this was coming, right? So swallowed, I got myself together and I'm like, Lord, another door is closing just in February, right? So I was like, well, that's fine because the Lord has given me some opportunities that I'm not, wouldn't be able to do all of this at one time. So it's cool. 4 to 6 weeks give me kind of time, to get myself together or figure out something because I don't know what I'm gonna do, right? That was on a Wednesday. The following Wednesday, they come back and say, well, I've decided to hire the person that I interviewed on last week, and your last day will be next Thursday. What? So we go from 4 to 6 weeks to 7 days, literally. Now I'm going to be transparent because I always am, and I'm going to tell y'all my business. I was pissed. Yes, I was, because we went from 4 to 6 weeks to now 7 days. Like I don't have time to get nothing in place in that time period, right? Nothing. Needless to say, I had a whole attitude for the whole from that Wednesday to um that following Wednesday because I couldn't understand why this was happening to me. I already just had this big door closed and move shift from my first thing in January. Now, less than 30 days later, the door is closing from this job that I knew was temporary, but I had gotten comfortable and I wasn't seeking to do anything else. And literally, the Lord knew He was going to have to push me out because I wasn't really looking for none, right? I was going to try to work as many jobs and do as what I need to do, right? As each day went by, God gave me more and more confirmation that I was aligning, I was getting put into alignment. Because even when we're in the waiting period and we've done what we can do, sometimes you're still off track, and God literally has to pick you up, close the doors, and align you with what He has before you, right? Because sometimes we can't get to who or where we need to be where we at. So He literally closes the door, puts you in divine alignment with where He needs you to be at that time. And a lot of time we are pushed when He know we ain't gonna want to go nowhere, right? So the following Wednesday came. I had gotten better with myself and my employer because I was like, I had a whole attitude, like I didn't want to talk about it because I was just literally upset. But in between that time, this is why it is very important to have kingdom and godly spiritual relationships with people who can hear from God in the spirit. A lady that I had been doing work for, she had been on my mind, and I was like, I don't really got time right now. I'm trying to focus on why this didn't happen, so I ain't call her. But her name kept coming up, and I said, well, let me just go ahead and call. So I went ahead on and called her. No, I texted her. And I was like, hey, just thinking about you, just want to reach out to you, hope all is well. That was that on that. She instantly called me back. She said, you've been in my spirit all night long. I've been over here trying to just Netflix and chill and just watch movies, but I just keep hearing your name. What is going on? So I told her about the situation with my job, and she's like, oh, that's why I keep hearing your name tonight. That's why God keep putting you on me for me to pray. So she prayed for me. We talked about the situation and how I felt, and it was just refreshing for her to hear from God and give me what God was saying to her, to kind of put me at peace a little bit, because God will put people in your place, people in your path, to kind of give you confirmation or to kind of steer in the right direction. Because my mind was all over the place. I was angry, I was upset, I was frustrated because why me? Why at this time is all I could understand. So I went on about my business. Oh, let me double back to this. I just thank you, Lord, brought it back to my remembrance. So when my aunt had that conversation and we talked about it, that following Sunday morning, I was getting ready to walk out of the house going to church, and I listened to Bishop Bronner in the mornings. And the TV was on as I was walking out the door. And when I was walking out the door, I heard him clearly say, God, now he said, that job didn't fire you. God made them release you. So I heard him and I walked on out the door. Got to church and was talking to one of my church members, and she was telling me about her job. It was telling me how she got called in the office and all this stuff was going on in her job. I was like, well, sometimes God has to push us out of places because He know that we won't leave on our own, especially when He has something better for us, right? So I done gave her all the good, how God was maybe moving you to something better. I said, and I was just walking out of the house, and the preacher was saying that sometimes he said that that job didn't fire you, God made them release you. So I done gave her all that. The very that was Sunday morning. Sunday evening, I went to my parents' church, and the prophet told me that you're gonna see it before spring. You have walked into your now season. This was February 3rd. That was my dad's birthday. You have walked into your now season. Now stood for new opportunities waiting. Now, I just got all those opportunities from those people about the get with the marriage couples and doing all this stuff. Same day on that Sunday. And then the lady tell me that about her job. So I'm like, God might got something better for you, but He know that you won't leave on your own. I got to work on that next day, and that's when it happened. So I went all through that week, still was upset. Got to the next week, and they asked me, the employer was like, you still want to go to lunch for your last day? I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm okay now. So the Lord fixed it where we actually had a conversation before I left. This was on that Wednesday. My last day was that Thursday, the very next day. And I sat down and I was able to have a conversation, not in my feelings, not out of my emotions, and to express how I felt about the whole situation. Now, I was upset about how things went because of my timeline, how it went from one thing to another. But I understood that ultimately that was God putting me in alignment, right? And so one of the things that she told me was, I don't know what God has for you on the other side of this. All I know is it is big. She told me that for the last 2 weeks, all I kept hearing, that all God was telling me was, you have to release her. I need you to release her. I said, what? She said, God just kept telling me, you got to release her. I need you to release her. And my mind instantly went back to what that preacher, what Bishop Bronner said on the TV when he said that job didn't fire you, God made them release you. That literally blew my mind. I was like, okay, this is God put me in alignment. The door closed because I had to go, because I had to be pushed once again to another place of alignment, to another level that I can flourish and move and be prune some more to what he has for me, right? And so just like I always say, that this podcast is a part of that. It's a part of my growth, it's a part of my pruning, it's a part of my transition. And even with the things that has happened, I'm still where I'm supposed to be. I still have done the work and I'm still in alignment and I'm still moving toward the goal, which is the kingdom spouse, right? So I just had to come on, of course, and share with you that part of my journey as leading through the closed doors. They're really not closed doors, they're all a part of God's alignment, putting you where He needs you to be. And we're going to talk more about that because that still opened up a door for something else. So even though He closes doors, push you in alignment, it's all a part of the process. So I want to encourage you on today that even when you are what feels like the wilderness, which is the waiting period, that you can serve in the silent time. So what I came up with tonight was encourage you and myself as well to do small acts of kindness as a way to show joy in the waiting period. Because me and my godmother was talking last week, and we was talking about how funny it is that during my transition and me being in the waiting period, God put me still right in the middle of the things that I was desiring, which is marriage. Where, like I told you about the two opportunities, the marriage ministry at church, couples date nights, couples, even to now with me being a day of wedding coordinator, marriage. Like, I have no clue what the big picture is, but I am just trying to walk in obedience and to try my best to wait well in the waiting period. So where is what I want you all to do with me, that we are going to promise that we are going to continue to wait well in the waiting period, right? And so your homework assignment for tonight is, oh no, let me go back before I get there. So let me tell you some of the things when me and my goddaughter was talking about how God will put you in the middle of those things. Like, one of my friends had got married, and I didn't want to actually be a part of the wedding. I want to just come and show up. And God told me, who are you to sit on the gifts that I have given to you? Y'all know He got me right together, right? So I end up getting my mind right. I said, okay, what you need? Everything that she needed for her wedding was in my garage. God said, everything that you need, you already have it. It's already in your hands. did her wedding with everything. Me and some friends put everything together, did everything. In the midst of me waiting, it's circling around. One of my mom friends ended up getting married. She was 65, I think. She she waited over 20 years. She said she had been single over 20 years and got married. This year was her 1 year anniversary. Her and her friend at the time, he asked her to get married. They was married in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. But they have known each other, but they got married in 2 weeks. And I called her. It wasn't nobody but God. They had me call her and ask her, so your fiance, do he got his shirt? Which y'all wear? She's like, I don't know. I was like, you don't know? You ain't gonna pick him out a shirt? Like, what's y'all color? She's like, oh, I guess I need to call him, tell him to get a shirt. I'm more excited. I'm thinking I'm the wedding coordinator or something. This hadn't even came up in my spirit about being a wedding coordinator yet. It's just the Lord had me call her. And I was like, well, you got your bouquet? She was like, no. I had a garage full of bouquets. Okay. Got one of my bouquets, didn't charge nothing, just went and got it, went over there when I got out work, added some of her little purple lilies because purple is her favorite color, because I always like to customize things to people because it means more, right? Got her the bouquet. She was so excited. They went and got married. Then something else happened, but all in the midst of what I desire, which was marriage, the Lord had me entwined all the way around it. And you know why he does that? To see what your heart posture is. To see if you are still waiting well. To see if you can be happy for other people when I give them what you desire. Or will you be grudgingly? To see if I can trust you with it. To see if you are still anxious. Because the Bible says to be anxious for nothing, but all things through prayer and supplication. So don't be anxious if it ain't your time, because the blessing given too soon is a burden, right? I didn't even plan on saying all that, but hey, I told the Lord to say whatever you want to say, right? Hi, Angela. Thank you for joining me tonight. You got to go back and watch the replay. What does Angela say? Let's see if I can put it on the screen. You are waiting patiently and being obedient. I am trying my best, Angela, to wait patiently and to be obedient. Because guess what? It's not always easy sometimes. And although you may see people, they may be smiling, they may be just going on about their business. Sometimes we still have rough days while in the waiting period. But that's why God is the loving God that He is. He will nudge us. He will give us a gentle reminder like He did me on yesterday. Because yesterday I was having one of those moments where I didn't feel my best. I feel like, to be honest and transparent with y'all, why am I doing all of this? Still in the same place that I am. And God gave me the song, You Were Born to Win. And I listened to the song and I felt 1,000 times better because the song says you were created with a purpose, created with a plan, that you were made by God's hands. You won't fail, you will succeed. With God, you can do all things. Listen to that song. It's an old song. I can't remember the man's name, but it's Born to Win. Kevin Davidson, that's the song. And in the song, he talks about how God is creating and preparing you for your purpose and your destiny, the things that He has already planned for us. But He has to, Angela just said it, predestined. But He has to shape us and mold us because it is bigger than just me. It's bigger than just you. What God is doing now in the earth and in the world or the kingdom is putting together kingdom marriages. And that's what I desire, and I pray that is what you desire. Kingdom doesn't always mean in the church. Kingdom is for the people that you are going to come across, just like I'm talking to y'all tonight. I don't have to be in a church talking to people. I don't have to be definitely on a platform or a pulpit, but this is where God has me to encourage you as I encourage myself, right? So your homework assignment for tonight is think of some ways that we can sow joy or acts of service while we are in the waiting period. Think of some ways that we can sow joy or acts of kindness while we're in the waiting period. And we're going to journey and do that together. Angela says, getting two souls prepared. That is correct, Angela. Because I was talking to a lady tonight, this evening, and she was telling me that it's crazy how this come back around. She was telling me that God is not just putting people together now just to be married, just to enjoy life and be happy. He's putting it together for kingdom work. Just like I said, kingdom doesn't always mean in the church, but it's for kingdom work. And it's for the glory of him. And he's not preparing just one person. He got to prepare both of y'all because there's no one person who has it all together. We're both a work in progress. But he's going to build us up separately to get to the point where he can bring us together. And like she said today, you're going to know when the one comes, okay? So until then, I want you to continue to wait well, continue to push through even when you don't want to, and continue to just enjoy life. Take it day by day, right? And I got this for you. May your waiting be holy, your silence be filled with whispers of grace, and your heart find rest in the one whom never forgets, even when you feel forgotten. God has not forgotten about you. Your time is coming. And my favorite words are, it's closer than you think. Until next time, have a good evening.